Hello, mothers of Quarry Creek, etc. Can you hear me down there? Of course you can. This is a podcast. There are no ups and downs, only here and now. Or there and later if you plan on putting off listening to this episode until another time. Although then I guess you would be here and now, and I would be yonder, and then, I am getting all tied up, and for what? For a very good joke that won't make a lick of sense now that I've gone on rambling for so long. I'll just start over. Can you hear me down there? Because I'm all the way up here. Up north, that is. Was that a joke or exposition? Jeremy, was that a joke or... Wait a second, he can't hear me. You're not going to believe this, gals and pals, outside. Yes, magic is real, and it exists here, up north. Not only is he outside, but he is inside a canoe. That's less thanks to the magic of up north and more the magic of motherhood. I told him that he could either go on a canoe ride with his father or stay here and help me with the dishes, and so he... Well, actually, he chose the dishes, but I told him that if we did the dishes, I'd be sure to ask him prying questions about his social life the entire time, and he still chose the dishes, and I said, Jeremy, we are up north, and you will up and enjoy all the north has to offer. Or at least all that it has to offer within the boundaries of a canoe. And off they went. But let me let you in on a little secret. I already did all the dishes. Being in the wilderness is no excuse to live like a wild animal. A wild animal who also happens to eat bratwursts and egg salad with stainless steel cutlery. I just told them I was doing the dishes so I could FaceTime the gals for this week's book club meeting. We are on a strict up north policy of no phones unless they're being used to document precious family memories. No Jeremy complaining about your vacation to your friend Jasper doesn't count as documenting precious family memories. But while the cat's away, the mom will secretly chat with her lady friends about modern literary masterpieces and report that discussion to her trusty podcast listeners. This week's novel took us way down south to an organic grocery store in Glendale, Missouri, where our leading lady, Marissa Palpatoni, meets a man while perusing the selection of bell peppers for a tasty dip she volunteered to bring to her sister's gender reveal party the next day. Let me tell you, that particular detail got Heather and Helen all riled up. Heather, because true organic peppers are apparently not to come into close contact with more than one human aura before consumed, thus allowing the nutrients to have a natural bond to one's incorporeal self. Helen was presumably upset for the same reason? I don't know. Her son Eustace is really into gardening right now, and I asked her if he gives the produce to Vidalia, because her big thing is cooking, and she got all agitated again. Maybe I'm the only one in the cul-de-sac who doesn't know anything about vegetables. Even Jeremy seems to have a strange affinity for eggplants. Anywho, Marissa and this man, Tony, instantly hit it off, swapping dip recipes as they admired the bulbous, imperfect forms of the organic bell peppers, brushing uncalloused fingertips across their supple, verdant ridges. And he invites her to spend the night at his ranch. For dip-related purposes, obviously. And smooching. Oh, Hank just sent me a picture of Jeremy in the canoe, all gussied up in a life jacket and a sour expression. Oh, I have a picture exactly like this in an album somewhere. Little 8-year-old Jay on a scouts trip. It was Parents' Day, and he was so upset because Hank kept rocking this canoe and paddling it in circles, and little Jay always had to do things by the book. Of course, today I'm sure he's just mad because he wants to get back to his book. He's been glued to this comic his friend Jasper lent him, the same way he's usually glued to, his friend Jasper. He quit Scouts a few years back because they were, quote, problematic, which seems to be his favorite word nowadays. I bet this canoe business is proving to be problematic for him. He's not a particularly athletic child, unless you count when he walks to the end of the street to catch a Pokemon. I bet watching him operate an oar is a hoot and a half. Hank's lucky to be there to witness it. But I am lucky to have a quiet minute to myself to record. I may have been hasty when I assumed I was on the way to interweb fame, but I am still committed to providing quality book club banter to the 12 of you still hanging on. Melissa goes home with Tony, as one is wont to do when a stranger from a grocery store invites one over for recipes and romance on a reclusive ranch. And things really heated up in the kitchen, if you know what I'm saying. They put the dip in a mini crock pot to keep it warm until the party the next day. And they smooched! There was quite a bit of smooching to be smatched. They smooched and smooched until the sun came up, taking breaks only to eat a balanced meal and get a healthy 8 hours of sleep. A solid 8 on the Branda Buchanan swoonometer. But as magical as the night was, Marissa had a gender reveal party to contribute dip to. So they made plans to meet again the next weekend, and she's on her merry way to her sister's house. But instead of balloons and cake, she is met with nothing but befuddlement and confusion. She missed the party by a whole year. Were her loved ones all right? Had anyone fed her goldfish? How would she ever know the gender of the baby? Helen got huffy again here, as one would, because it was a very frustrating plot twist. So much dip gone to waste. Turns out, what felt like just a night at Tony's was an entire year in the outside world. A year in which she lost her job, her house, her sister's respect, her subscription to HGTV magazine, and then Tony texts, "Can't wait to do it again." Oh, that's another picture from Hank. Oh, Jeremy fell in the lake. Oh, I shouldn't be laughing. That's terrible. I mean, he's not drowning. He just has a lily pad on his head. Oh, the poor thing. He hates swimming. We put him in swim lessons when he was, well, a few years older than the other kids in swim lessons. I have a picture of him somewhere, fresh out of the pool after doing a dive that turned out more like a belly flop. The moms on the sidelines were not pleased about that one. He's got this, purple swim shirt just clinging to him, and he's just fuming because he didn't pass the class and he would have to take the level all over again, and his bottoms are riding up his booty, which is doing something for his temper. But I told him to power through so he'd be ready if he ever went to a water park or got stranded at sea or fell out of a canoe. If only little Jay could know what a good I told you so moment this is. I'll just have to save my soz to tell when he gets back. In the meantime, I will get back to the novel. Marissa is suddenly caught up in the second most difficult decision she'd ever have to make, right after whether or not she should get bangs. Should she spend a year with her family and friends, with everyone and everything she's ever loved, or should she go hang out with a spicy acquaintance on his magical ranch for a night? Of course, her choice was obvious. Any modern protagonist knows you have to be willing to make sacrifices to spend even a few more hours with those closest to you, to cherish every last experience you can have together. Any self-respecting heroine knows not to miss out on moments and milestones by dwelling too long in frivolity. Any woman knows that... Oh, would you hush up, Hank? Jeremy is outside. I get the picture. You can stop sending me more. Oh. This one isn't actually a picture. Well, it is, I suppose, but it's nothing. Just a black screen. Just darkness. Just Nothing. Little Jay used to be really afraid of the dark, you know, when he was really little. We'd turn off his light and he'd cry and cry and, well, Hank works so hard and he really needs his quiet time to unwind after work, so one night he went in there and told little Jay to stop, and he said, "Daddy, I can't, I'm afraid of the dark," and Dad said, "You are not afraid of the dark. You're afraid of the nothing." Let's just say we had to get little Jay a nightlight after that. Anyway, I hope they're doing okay. I wish I could check on them, but maybe I should have tagged along. No, I've got my commitments. There is nothing wrong with taking a few minutes for myself. There is nothing wrong with being alone. And I'm not alone. I'm with you, dear listeners, and I'm with Marissa Palpatoni, and she will never be alone because she decides to stay with Tony on his ranch, falling deeper in love as the days turn into years in more ways than one. And this time Joni was actually the one who got mad about her throwing her life away for a man she barely knew, blah, blah, divorce. But she says that about every book. And she didn't throw her life away. She just recycled it. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices for love. Here we go again. Oh. This is not a text from Hank. This is from Beverly. Oh, bless her pea-pickin' heart. It's an email about PTA meetings start in just 2 weeks. Isn't that exhilarating? Hello again, fellow mothers. This is your leader, Beverly, bless her pea-pickin' heart, updating you on the plans for... Oh, the boys are home. Oh, I can hear Jeremy shouting at Hank, presumably because he fell in the lake, but you know teenagers, it could be anything. Shoot, I have to get this stuff put away before they find out about the dishes, wink, wink. And I should really get down there to stop them from strangling each other with unkind words. After I check this second email from Beverly, oh, bless her pea-pickin' heart, why would she send 2? She's normally so efficient, she would have covered everything in the first. Oh, this one is just addressed to me. Brenda, can't wait to see you again. You are a greater asset to this organization than you can know. Wow. I've held so many titles of mom, mommy, ma, but I've never been an asset before. I think this is going to be a great year for the PTA. Wait. Do you hear that? Coming from downstairs. Their shouting has shifted to... nothing. Shoot, I gotta get down there. The fellas squabble all the time, but when all that turns into nothing, well, let's just say what happens up north stays up north. I just hope I can talk them back down. It gets rough making the drive all the way back with all that nothing stuffed in the trunk. My gosh, we're already driving back down tonight. I feel like I missed the entire trip. I mean, it's not like this is the last time we'll ever do this. Jeremy's still got another year before college, so unless he goes and gets himself a job next summer, it's fine. Everything will be fine. It's always fine up here. Up north. This week's book was Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. And the theme? Love, obviously. Alright, that's it for this week. Say hi to the kids for me. Bye-bye. Momcast is written, voiced, and produced by Lily Indy. Follow Brenda on Twitter and Instagram at MomcastPodcast, and tune in every other Sunday on your favorite podcast platform.
so long as that platform is here, where this podcast is.